legs and looked at me over her shoulder. This dog was the reverse of Busy Bee. She had all the markings of a border collie, the white socks and tail tip, but her coat was short like a lab's. A neat white line ran between her eyes, bisecting her small face. Her muzzle was squarish, like a hound's. Her ears flopped. As I opened the door and went in, she pinched her dark eyes. I slid down on the floor to make myself smaller and less threatening. She kept her distance. Her white-tipped tail fluttered. After she gave me a few more nervous looks, I let her be. There was no name or age mentioned on her kennel door. There was a red sticker, which meant that only the staff could handle her, not volunteers. I had accidentally broken the rules by entering her kennel. It wasn't exactly love at first sight, more a kind of illogical determination that overtook me not to make the same mistake twice, which is when you often make a different kind of mistake. I put a hold on her at the front desk. I asked her name. Bumblebee. She was Busy Bee's sister. It's fate, I told the shelter worker at the front desk. It was, though fate is its own animal, a wild, unpredictable one with its own mind. Bumblebee had a story, a dramatic one, but it was vague at best. She was born amid the fury of a Maine February on a small farm in Cornish, a village close to the New Hampshire border. As the story went, she and her mother, Honeybee, who resembled an oversized beagle, and her brother, the lovely Busy Bee, lived under the farmhouse's porch. There, the small family could hide from the winds and the snow, but not from the cold's sharp bite. A litter of 2 is small for a dog, who typically has 4 to 6. Maybe some pups had succumbed to temperatures that easily slip below 0. That any of them, born utterly helpless, blind, survived the fierce wind chills seems nearly impossible. Honeybee must have been a good mother. Maybe the mother was the farmer's pet, but an outside one. Maybe he fed them. Yet given how terrified the pups were of humans and of being indoors, they had likely spent their early months wandering through the leafless apple orchards and dormant fields, or snuggling up tight against Honeybee for as long as they could to stay warm. The bees were akin to barn cats living along the edges of the farm, outliers who were mostly left to fend for themselves. The bees were something that has become a relative rarity in the United States, stray dogs. Long gone are the days when it wasn't that unusual to have a stray just show up in your suburban backyard, the way Curly, my childhood dog, did in 1959. The sweet shepherd mix, who actually resembled an Aussie, I realized later, had no collar. He did have mange. My mother gave him special baths for weeks, during which his skin bled and his fur came out in her hands. When his coat grew back, it was lush and wavy and won him his name. For the next 18 years, he chased sticks, did battle with the boxer down the street, roamed our freshly minted neighborhood, and scanned driveways for parked cars with open doors. Having found some station wagon left so, Curly would sometimes climb in and take a nap. Today, a roving pet dog, never mind a car sitting in a driveway with its door open, can inspire a rash of panicky 911 calls. How times have changed. Not all that long ago, when life was harsher, yet in some ways more relaxed, strays, or tramps, as they were called, wandered many American cities and towns. Life on the street, picking through a city's plentiful garbage, was considered the natural, if unfortunate, state of a canine. Yet strays also had their good points. They could be put to work, say, hooked up to a rag picker's small wagon for a day and then let loose come sunset, maybe with a handful of food. They cleared the streets of trash and killed rats. The 2 strays in 1860s San Francisco were such expert ratters that the press followed the adventures of Bummer and Lazarus, medium-sized mutts who lived outside a saloon and, as one reporter put it, wagged with one tail. When a new dog catcher nabbed Lazarus, an angry mob swarmed the pound demanding his release. Soon Lazarus rejoined his best friend, Bummer, and the city declared the 2 mutts exempt from the stray ordinances. Off they ran. They reportedly stopped a runaway horse pulling a cart. They also ransacked shops and picked fights with other dogs. Bummer killed a sheep or 2. Lazarus died in 1863, like many strays, from poison. A year later, a drunk kicked Bummer down a staircase, hard enough to kill him. Bummer was still popular enough that the drunk was thrown in jail, and Mark Twain, then a young newspaperman, penned an obituary for the stray who died full of years, honor, disease, and fleas. Though Bummer and Lazarus won hearts, few other stray dogs did. When homeless dogs were picked up, it was not to help them, but because they woke people with their barking, pooped on the sidewalk, and harassed the horses, cows, pigs, and chickens that crowded city streets. Stray